we've worked together for quite a while. What was it you were wanting to fix with, how did you feel about selling your art back then? And what do you think was in your way and stopping you at that point?
Well, I've always, I think, by 2024, I'd been selling already. So I was selling. I'd already done an open studios, I believe, at that time. I think I'd done the first of the Cheltenham Art Fairs at that time. I don't think I was in the gallery at that time. So those were my main outlets. Plus, I had a website from which I had sold one item. I had probably done the workshops for a little while as well. So I was selling the workshops, but only one rather than two a month, as I'm doing now. Because I wasn't getting enough sales of the work to sustain the doing of it and the cost of it. And because I had a lot of materials and people were asking me, well, how did you do that? I thought, well, I might as well have a workshop set up and start showing people. And it's moved on from there successfully. So why did I join in the first place? I think it's because I didn't have any kind of structure to my marketing. I didn't have anybody who was a marketing person who knew about how artists work. And I think that was a key point as well. General marketing and artists marketing, it is a niche for a reason. And that's why you chose the niche. I think I was very haphazard in what I was doing. And needed some direction. I also needed a bit of a kick up the backside, really, to just be doing these things, which is why I quite like the homework and having to do it and then accounting for myself another time. I think that also was why I moved into the arts step group, because again there was a bit of accountability there. And that's certainly the kind of stuff that I needed. And then actually it was more than the accountability, it was just a lovely group of people, and we had some really interesting conversations that went off at all sorts of tangents, but I really enjoy that. I've got busier as well as time goes on. Now I'm running 2 workshops. I'm in the gallery as well. I've got another 2 workshops abroad, retreat and all the rest of it. So everything is getting a little bit too busy.
Was there something that kind of nearly stopped you connecting and joining up to that?
Well, there's always sort of the cost benefit side of things, how much benefit will I get from the cost of these things? But I knew I had to invest. I'm with another art group, which is more about the doing of it, which is a nice community, but is more practical. And there's another one that wasn't really focusing as much on marketing as I thought I needed. So it was filling a niche in what I needed at the time.
It's about 18 months or something like that we've been together. What's different kind of week to week, or have you changed anything about what you believe about marketing, or, has any belief changed? Well,
I think 2 things popped into my head at that point. How things have changed week to week. I'm using Instagram and Facebook more effectively, and my numbers are going up. I even had a video that didn't go viral, but it went to thousands when mine are normally a few hundred, so that was quite fun. I am using that better, and that's largely through all that we've been talking about in many ways. The thing that hooked me in the first place was your focus on values-led marketing. And I hadn't really thought of it that way. I mean, I knew I had to know my audience, but it wasn't, that was the kind of standard marketing thing was, the avatar and the this and the that, but I hadn't really thought about it in terms of values. And I think that was the key thing for me. It makes absolute sense. And as we've gone on, there have been lots of different ways in which we're focusing on the people that our art resonates with. And that makes obviously a lot of sense, but it hadn't filtered into my brain 2 years ago.
Is there anything that felt uncomfortable at the start, marketing wise, that feels that you got used to now? Well,
one thing I should never get used to is all the the data and the way that you analyze everything to the nth degree. That's not me, and I'll never do it. I remember at the beginning you saying, well, you look at this number, look at that number, and compare this with that. That's not me. So I don't do, test Facebook ads and what have you. I have done the odd test reel, which is quite fun. Just changing something slightly and see what happens. I'm not a numbers person by any way, shape or form.
I was quite chuffed that, so we went through your first Cheltenham, I think, and then we went through the second Cheltenham, and you sold quite a bit, and I kind of felt, possibly wrongly, at least slightly responsible for that.
Well, I think so. It's a particular thing, the Cheltenham Art Fair, but yes, I think in the run up to it, I certainly did a lot more promotion, and I got more people anyway that were on my list and so on. And I think also in conversation with the art steppers, the idea of picking up connections for the retreat at that time, that came in as well. So everybody's contributed, and I hope I've contributed back to everybody else as well. But it's very much it's that dialogue, and that's one of the things I really enjoy about Art Step is you get together when you can. I haven't as much time now to do it as I used to, and then we help each other along with different ideas and things. So yeah.
What would have happened if we hadn't connected, do you think?
I was already using AI because my son is very, very knowledgeable about the whole thing, and he told me ages ago I needed to use it as every day. And I think I've learned how to use AI better going along, but also you use it a lot, and it's been interesting to see how you use it, and that's probably influenced a bit how I use it.
Is there a kind of artist that this wouldn't be for?
Well, for artists who are not interested in taking it into a more business-like approach, people who just want to paint and just want to paint the church next door kind of thing. I don't think it's for that kind of artist at all, Well, polite way of putting it.
That works.
But I also think, you've got to be a particular kind of person who's prepared to just come online and chat.
Yeah.
And there may be a lot who won't.
Who would you recommend to work with me? And if someone's not quite sure, what would you kind of say to them?
Who's a go-getting type of person, I think. Someone who wouldn't be shy to come forward, that kind of person. She's at the point now where her children are growing up and going away, and she's going in through the sort of 50s scenario of life changing and children growing up and going away and all that stuff.
The thing that I picked up of that there is the kind of, well, I was going to say change of life. I didn't necessarily, but actually, that moment when it's like second career. It's like, okay, now this is my time.
Yeah.
But also, if it is that moment of second career, then you've just dropped a salary and you're ticking over trying to make this other thing work, and you're capable because you've had a career, and so this should work. So then you've got to make it work. So not uncommon that there's somebody who's solid, brings in a few £1,000s a month, and it allows the other person to be more flexible. I do know a couple who are artists, solely, but they're quite older. So I think they've got the pension, and they've got the artist income, and they do commissions and things, and it all kind of adds up in the end. If you own your own.
Well, that's my position. Pension plus art income. Yeah.
Did I ever challenge you on something that you didn't want to hear but actually needed to?
You can probably answer that better than I. What can you remember that I was not happy to do? I don't know.
I mean, what I'm coming back to is the retreat, that when you decided to do the retreat, and we worked on that for a bit, and there was a load of marketing stuff and positioning and all of that. But pricing was the thing that I kind of pushed on.
Yeah, and I underpriced in the end.
Yeah. But you sold out, so it all worked. And it sounds like you had a good time, and next time you'll have
a good time, and I didn't, for the amount of effort I earned tuppence-halfpenny.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the main driver for it.
We were also trying to get you for the Cheltenham show that ultimately Cheltenham got cancelled, didn't it? But we were pushing you to go over £1,000 for a painting. And you'd done that, and then they cancelled the show. But so I think that was the thing that we were gently kind of pushing it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've pushed the price of the big one up to 1,200, I think, at the end.
Right.
And it's sold, but I think I need to have a really big statement piece that is over 1,000 to make the others look right.
It's not really for this conversation. There was always the idea that you have something that you really want to do that's like 25 grand or something, it's a project, it's something, and then you can talk about it, and if somebody wants to buy it, then it's good. But it's just in the imagination at the moment. It's just something big, and one day somebody will fund you for it.
Well, it's like it's making your own luck, and I think I've always done that. It was my working life. I've always sort of said yes to things and then worked out how to do them. And I think that's one of the ways of making your own luck, really.
Yeah.
And just not waiting for the right time, but just saying yes and then deciding it has to be the right time for whatever it is. Doing retreats, that was quite a big step.
Yeah.
And then I've always thought I'd love to paint abroad. And so when I spotted this thing about retreats in Italy, I followed it up, and they're taking me on as a retreat host, and if it runs, it runs. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I've done my best with the marketing of that, and a lot of that is thanks to the way you've made me think about marketing. Right. So it's all credit to you for that.
Thank you. Have you always been an artist?
Always an artist, always a creative. I mean, all my life from childhood, I've been creative one way or another, including in textiles, which is where I actually started on my art training, was actually in textiles. And then I was a town planner, as you know, and then moved into landscape architecture. But my portfolio to get accepted into landscape architecture was textiles, and not very much painting and drawing. It was all the textile stuff, but it showed the design aspect. And then throughout the landscape architecture, I was much more interested in the design and the concept, and working in 4 dimensions and design and so on and so on. And then when I got more working involved with schools, then the art side became a bigger thing, because when you're working with kids, you have to do something that's fun and preferably artistic, using paints and getting messy. And so the whole thing has a logic to it when you look at it in entirety. And then the other catalyst for me really was a colleague at the charity that I was working for, and still am, 35 years later. She did the foundation at Westdean and said, "You would love it, you've got to do it." So that's what I did after we moved here, and I actually had a studio. So in a nutshell, that was it. Yeah, always been an artist, but only when we moved here and I had a studio could I actually make it a bigger part of my life.
How long has that been?
16 years now, 17 years.
Thank you very much. All right.
Well, thank you for the last however many years it's been, 18 months. Yeah. It's been really good, and
it's been good, hasn't it?
I shall miss the chats.